With this piece, as with most of my pieces, my focus is on creating something that has some sense of timelessness. My name is Miles McGregor, also known as El Mac. I'm an artist and muralist. It's something that I take very seriously as a public artist. Painting these big, large public murals, you know, there's something very powerful in that. Because of that power, you know, there's also kind of a responsibility that comes with that, and hopefully something that the community can connect with, you know, something that's relevant to the history and the culture of wherever the mural is. These figures are monumental. Normally when we look at monuments, they're, you know, famous figures. I don't know if it's like groundbreaking conceptually or anything, but I think it's important work to make these kinds of monuments to normal people. The figures are based on reference photos that I shot of some local young people. The young woman, her name is Mandolina, and she helps manage a nearby community garden. The figure next to her, his name is Jamai, and he's a ballet dancer. The third figure, he's Seminole, and he's the youngest figure that I'm painting. I work all night and then in the mornings. The technique is very difficult. It's ridiculously time-consuming, and the way that I paint, you know, it's all lines and circles and patterns, and the hope is that that kind of consistency, it does something for the viewer, or it can, the same way when we hear some music that we like, you know, there's something about the pattern, it's appealing to the brain. From a distance, these images hopefully look representational and realistic and accurate. And at the same time, I hope that when people actually are in front of them in person and can see the details, that can work on another level, and it's almost abstract. When I paint, I'm putting my paint in ice, you know, to cool the cans and lower the pressure. I'm using certain kinds of caps, and you know, and if it's hot out, you know, it'll change the pressure of the can, and there's a lot going on there. But at the same time, I'm also kind of using the paint in a way that comes out of what you would call a traditional graffiti aesthetic. You know, like I'm using these caps that are known as New York fat caps, and they're kind of like iconic paint valves in graffiti, you know, historically, you know, and the way that they make the paint spray out in this kind of hollow circle or a ring of paint, but I'm kind of stretching it to its limit. This technique has been kind of evolving over time, and you could look at the one surviving piece that I painted here in Wynwood from 2009, and you know, just over the years, I think I keep trying to find ways to make it more difficult and time-consuming for myself. No, but I have been actually, because I keep trying to push it and stretch it as far as I can, and I think the challenge of painting these pieces, you know, and constantly trying to figure out new ways to make them more beautiful is this kind of never-ending task for me. It's also, you know, this is an important project for me because I haven't painted in Miami in over a decade. You know, the first time that I painted out here was in 2007. There was already graffiti art in this area, no question, but I think, as far as I know, 2007 was maybe the first year that there was really a kind of a larger scale organized mural project. We always hear about street art, and I think Wynwood is kind of world famous now as kind of the epicenter of street art. And, you know, I always point out that the first time I actually heard the term street art here in Miami in 2008, and we were all just like, what is that? Because we were all coming out of a background in graffiti and you know, fine art, but you know, we called it graffiti, you know. I think from my own experience, that was a turning point in this whole movement. I never really liked the term street art. I never really embraced it, but you know, it is what it is. So much goes into it. You know, I really see it as I'm putting love into the art, which sounds very fuzzy and cliche, but it's really sincere. It's almost spiritual. It's almost religious. You know, it's my life's purpose.
If you want to see LMAC's huge mural in Wynwood, just look up. It's located on the Wynwood 25 apartment building near Wynwood Walls. Follow LMAC on Instagram at @Mac_art.